I wanted to share just a little bit more about setting up a brand guide in Adobe Spark or Canva that will make your life a lot easier if you're going to use one of these programs to create social media posts. So let's start out by sharing my screen with you. And I'm going to actually just go to the Canva home. So once you've created an account, this is the home page. This is the type of thing that you would come to. So again, this is the Canva account. And if you look down here, there's something called Brand Kit. And if you click on Brand Kit, you can then take the various elements and put them into here. So for logos, you can just click the little plus button. And with that, you can now upload something that you want to have in there. So I'm going to upload one of my older logos here. So this is from a long, long time ago. This is from season 1. So I could have that in there so that if you want to set up a brand kit for a client, first thing to do is to get logos in there. That makes them real easy to slap on the different designs that you're creating. Then you can put the colors in there. Obviously, I have mine in there, but with a little plus that it would ask you what you want to put, and then you would just copy paste the hex number that I gave you and the campaign guide for targeted, or a different client would give you for their campaigns to make sure that you have easy access to their official colors. So just hit that plus and you'll be able to find new colors. Then for fonts. Now there are lots of times when you're going to have to upload a font because Spark or Canva just doesn't have it. You can upload a font here. Now for me, I use Georgia, and I use Georgia in a lot of my things. I also use the Proxima Novo, which I haven't uploaded into here, but hey, let's do that. So upload a font. And I can go here. I have put fonts into, it's up here actually, the font that I'm looking for. So this, I don't know if I can do the whole, yeah, it's not going to let me do the whole thing. I have to do it one at a time. So I would start out with this, and I put the different fonts I already put in Moodle in the assets folder. So all you have to do is, first of all, download them, and then you can upload them. And you'd have to upload them all separately. And these are all free fonts that you are allowed to use. So we are not breaking any copyright things, which is what it's basically asking you right here, confirm that you're allowed to use it. And yes, these are free fonts. If you're working from an Apple computer, the Proxima Nova in Georgia, you should already have and be able to select it. But for some reason, I just find it easier to do it this way rather than linking it from the Adobe font book. And probably that's my thing, that it's just getting to the font book and putting it up here. It's not so easy for me. So I just download it and upload it that way. All right, so that's how we do the font or do the brand book in Canva. And again, that just makes it really easy so that when you go to do something, you can throw your logo onto it. And if I want to go to home again, to the things that I'm creating, I can take a look at this. So I made this design in my last video, and I have changed the photo in it because I decided I didn't want that particular photo. I ended up not being happy necessarily with that, so I changed it to this one. But you know what? I have not put a logo in here. So I want to add a logo into here. How do I do that? I will go over to the upload folder, and you will see that I have my different logos that are in there, easy to use. So I just have to decide which one I want to use. I'm going to use this one because it has a transparent background, and I think that's going to be better than this one that has the big red background. So I'm going to select this one, and now that's way too big, but I can put that there. Now, I mentioned in the last video, I like to have a logo in that corner. So I can move this graphic here. I just highlighted those 3 different elements at the same time, and I'm just going to move them over. I can do that. So I've moved them over to that side. Now this box seems a little bit big to me, this pink box here, so I'm actually going to change it up a little bit to try to make it fit a little better. And so now this is just where kind of you get into the changing things a little bit, just kind of trying to refine how you want it to look. And so I'm just changing that a bit. And let's see, click off a bit. Oh, that's not very centered for that. So I'm going to move that over a little bit further. And let's see how it looks now. Too high, so just going to push it down a little bit. Let's see if it's still kind of high. Push it down. There we go. Better. But you know what? I can make that just a little bit bigger. And then I might not feel like it's so crowded. All right, so then we have all of the elements that we want for a post. Okay, so there we go. That's in Canva, and I'm going to go ahead and download this video so that I have it to post onto social media. Now, I'm going to go to Spark and talk about your brand there. So let's start out in Spark as if we were in the oh, there's my video. Let's just see how it looks real quick. You can't see it, can you? Never mind. Okay, I forget that it's playing on my computer, but since I've shared the browser window, you can't see exactly what I see. All right, so here we are in Spark on their homepage. And if you look down in this left-hand corner, you will see something called brands. So just go ahead and click on brands. And you'll see I already have a brand set up in here, but you will have something that says create a brand. So you can create it from scratch. So if we clicked on this, it will be very similar, in which it'll ask you to upload your logo. And so I have given you a bunch of the logos in the assets, in the Moodle folder. So you can go ahead and you can upload from there. So I'm just going to cancel that because I already have a brand one, so I really don't need to. Then you can pick a color, and if there's a color in your logo, it will let you just kind of select it, but I don't usually do that because it doesn't always see it right. So I just go ahead and copy paste the actual hex number right in there. And then for choosing the font, you can do this as well, and you can see what they have that you want to use, or you can add your fonts here, in which again you could add a font in which they're going to make sure that you have, that it's okay to do it, that you're not using a copyrighted one that is not appropriate, and so you can go ahead and add your font there. Now what you will see once you get these things loaded, and here I'm going to go back to my brand that I already have set up. So I'm now going to go to the targeted podcast brand I already have set up. So you'll see I have the logos, I have my colors, I have my fonts. They will have created a bunch of templates for me. And I'm not real fond of what Spark has set up automatically. I'll show you because you'll get this kind of thing. And it's not really quite my aesthetic, but that's okay. They've just taken the colors and the fonts and used it to create things that you might be able to use when you're creating. So it has just made these different templates for you. So this one's okay. This is the one I probably would like the most, this event header one. So if I was ever going to decide to work off of one of these, I would probably use that one, in which I could just swap out the picture and get rid of the Adobe Spark logo that's at the bottom of that, which for me, I have a paid account, so I can get rid of the Adobe Spark logo. But if you have a free account, you can't get rid of the Adobe Spark logo, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. You can just have the Adobe Spark logo on there. Now, they took it off already for me. In the preview, you could see it, but not in this one. So this I could now just change out just by clicking. I could change out the words here, and I could change out the picture. So I click on the picture there, and if I go over to image, I can pick a different image. I can I should be able to pick out a different image. Okay, here we go. And so I double clicked on it that time. I just didn't double click hard enough a second ago. So you can find free photos here. And so if you find free photos, you can go to Unsplash or Pixabay and look for photos here. And so you want to use photos that you're allowed to use. These are sites that have a Creative Commons license, which means you should be able to use them, and you don't have to tag the person who created it, but I usually double check myself. I figure out who it was who posted this photo, and I go to their site and make sure that I don't have to give some kind of attribution, because of course, copyright law, I don't want to steal anyone's work. But let's see, so I don't want this picture here. I'm not sure what that person is doing, but let's say I wanted to do another coffee cup thing here. I could just type in coffee mug, and I could get all sorts of photos here, and you see it will tell you the name of the person. So this is how I will then go to, I think this is on Unsplash, if I remember, I clicked on Unsplash. So I would go to Unsplash and look up, say, Drew Kaufman, and make sure that it really is one that I'm allowed to use, and that he hasn't asked for payment or anything of that nature. So then to select it, let me just go back. I saw one I liked earlier. I like this one, Bridget Toom. So go like this, and then I could edit it. Now, if I want to change it, I could flip it different directions. If I want it to be a different direction, I could put it upside down. And right now I can move it freely. And there are filters that you can use on it. So we could make it grayscale or contrast. We could make it dark. That wouldn't be good. Multiply. So there are some different things that you can do with the photo there. So let me click now on the square. And of course you can change the colors on the square and be able to make some changes that way with it. Another thing I want to show you is that when it comes to the words, you have a ton of choices when it comes to the words in Adobe. So if you look over here at this menu, not only can you, right now I'm on this type command, so you can pick the type and look at some of these different things, the size, the color, so I could change the color. Instead of it being white, I could pick out something different. I do like the white though. I could go to the shape, and the shapes are kind of cool. So right now it doesn't have a shape, but I could do, this one here makes it kind of a banner. I could put it in a circle. I could put it in a square. And so this square doesn't have, it's just an outline. So there's lots of things that I can do. So this is one of the reasons why these things are great for social media, because you can quickly just put these things in, see, I like it, or you go, I hate it, get rid of it, and just try something else there. So anyways, lots of choices there. Then you could go back to one that I thought I liked better. So let's see. Something that worked okay was this one, although I would want to move it there. All right, so let's look at effects. You can now have the text do different things. Right now there's no effect, but I could put a shadow on it, and I can play with how big the shadow is or how small, what direction it's going in, where I want the light source to be. So you have that choice. You can do an outline. And again, how thick you want the line or not, you have that choice. Transparent text, that's another option. Then we can do cutouts, in which now this is not the font that you see. This is not colored letters. It's a cutout because it's just showing through here. And so wherever you put it, it will take on that backdrop. And what else could we do? Cutout and shadow. And again, so we can play around with that. So those are some great things to do. If you ever don't know what to do with these things, you could do the style here, and it's going to give you suggestions in which you click on that and it's like, oh, well, you could do this. You click down a little lower, or it could do that, or that, or that. So it's just going to give you a bunch of ideas. I rarely like the ideas they give me, so I end up doing lots of undo, 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 because I don't like any of them. All right, so hopefully that gives you a little bit more information about setting up the brand guide. And I feel like I want to go back to Canva one more time, give you a little bit more of what you can do in Canva. So let's just look at, oh, that was animated social media. Let's just do a plain old social media. Let's not do animated this time. So let me go back and let's do an Instagram post. And I think I wrote this in an email to you, but a lot of social media managers I know love Canva or Spark. People often like one or the other. They don't use both usually. It's just like they love one and they've never used the other. Very few people use both. But I like both of them, but I tend to use Spark more, probably just because I learned Spark first and then I learned Canva. Canva is more typical that the social media managers use Canva. So you can pick out the different templates that they have here, again, that you can choose what you want to use and you can customize them, which is what's nice about it. And let me just show you a few more things that we can do with it. And let me just find one that, oh, let's go for, there's a flower one up here that looks pretty easy to work with. And so kind of have already told you that you can, one sec, I want to see one thing. Okay, that is the photos. So sometimes I find, because of where things are in the position, what's on the top layer and the bottom layer, you can't easily edit. Like right now, I can't just click on the bloom where you are planted because it's at a lower level. But if I just do what would be a right click or left click where I bring this up, I can tell it to change. So I can send the flowers to the back. So I can now edit the text. And so I could just say thrive. You matter. That's also something I tend to say a lot of in my podcast now. I want to change the fonts here. So this font is not one that I use. So I can go over to the text over here and I can use some of the fonts that I typically use. So this is my Georgia here. So actually I didn't want to add, didn't want to add a subheading as much as I want to edit this one. So I'm going to tell it that I want to do Georgia. Okay, so even though I've added Georgia in here, it is not showing it right now, and it's just showing it as my heading, so I just might go here, thrive. Some of these things I think it's kind of funny because you just have to play around, and I just do whatever's easiest. There may be a better way to do lots of things, but you know what? I just go for what actually works. That's what I am concerned with, what works, and just being able to work with that. And so I would want to make that bigger eventually, but if I go back to the text, I can do some things like I can increase the size here, so make it more similar to what that other one was. Okay, so there we got that. I can change the color and again use one of my brand colors. And here I just kind of see, what do I like the looks of? Yeah, I think that one's probably the best one that I like the looks of. They have effects as well, so we could do an effect if we want. So we can do some shadow if we would like. And here I could change to a different color if I would like to lift, but I have lots of choices of what I can do. I can do intense here if I want it with the shadow. I can make it blurry if I want to. Right now it has a transparency. I can get rid of the transparency. I can make it so it's less offset, which means the shadow is more distinct. So I can do that. Lots of things there. And so I can also change my font here. So let me see if I can get into my Proximo Nova. There we go. But now that's too big, so I'll go up here, make it smaller. Let's try 28. And I might do a different color now. So what if we made it red or maybe black? Nah. Here, I don't know if any of them look all that great, frankly. We'll just, it's easy to natter around with this and just waste a lot of time with it. Okay, so I could have that, and of course I need to have my logo there. So I would want to go to my uploads, and I want to, here I could put this logo if I want, and I actually just dragged and dropped it, which I don't really want to do. I actually just want to click on it. If I drag and drop, it's going to set it as a background, which wasn't what I wanted to do there. All right, so I am just going to put that down there, and I might adjust this layer so that I put everything up just a little bit higher. So that I can have my logo a little bit better. Now, would I actually use this post? No, frankly, I wouldn't. I don't think this would look good. It's not on brand enough for me, but it does at least show you some of the things that you can do here. Elements, so we haven't talked about things like shapes. You can do shapes. You can, if you do one of these, it's a frame, and then you can put a photo in there so that it will crop to a shape essentially. I could just put in, let's say I'm like, I want ice cream in here. So I could put ice cream. If I choose one that's animated, then great, it will be animated. I can put more flowers here if I want, and then I can move it around. So I have all sorts of different things if I want to look for something in particular. So let's say I wanted to find more flowers. I could just type in flowers and then I'll get all sorts of options. They will tell you which ones you're allowed to use. So I have the educational account, and if you signed up through my link for an educational account, then you will too. And so I have access under EDU that a lot of people don't. So I get free premium images. So that's nice that I'm able to have that. And lots of you don't. You can also pay for images, and they'll have a bunch of free ones even if you don't have an EDU account. You just have less choice and more things that you would have to pay for. Whenever you don't want this little thing here, you just click that little button and it is gone. Background, we can put a background on it. So this would be something that would be unmovable behind everything else. So I could choose something like this that has more flowers on it. It would look terrible, but I could do it. I could put a gradient behind it that also looks terrible. Or how about this? Worst design ever, M&Ms and flowers, and a targeted logo. So worst design ever. So these are all terrible choices, but you could choose them just so that you see what you can do with that. All right, so hopefully this gives you just a little bit more information about using Canva and setting up a brand guide and just taking a little bit more of a look at what you can do. All right, thanks. I will talk to you later.